Hello, I'm Kanecki from Kanecki Art, and I'd like to talk about some projects I'm thinking about planning to do for this spring. One of the projects is a fashion design project. Part of it involves actually making something that's useful that we need every day. It started from the idea that began and that's on Etsy on my site Kanecki Art of the commuter purse, a four-pocket purse made so that you can carry um, electronics, tablets, traditional items that you carry your purse, plus two other pockets for possibly a magazine or a book. Um, the thing about this is also to make it so that it's weather resistant, because what I noticed in my first design was more of a spring summer design. I like the idea that they put a detachable strap so different types of straps can be put on, different types of stylistic straps can be put on. A second project to do is to pursue more about open source fashion, to see what is available, what can be done in collaborative design, what does it really, what does it entail, in addition to in the 3D printing. And the third part of the project is to coordinate more with the theater department of Parkside in the local area to see what what is what projects are being done, what can we do more to collaborate, and also to consider the idea of communications and technology and theater and technology, and to talk with a few people who actually have done quite a bit with theater and technology. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at Diana18. When I think about what's needed to actually develop the commuter purse, it goes back to an idea I had a few years ago. Part of it is what is the right size, because I found out from my own experience that I normally prefer to have a small commuter purse, because if it gets too big, then it becomes really heavy and bulky to carry. However, you need something that is the right size, because if you're carrying something other than a tablet, like a notebook computer or a netbook computer, needs something sturdy as well, so that basically it can stand the rigors of traveling. Whether you're traveling by car or whether you're traveling by commuter rail, bus, it has to be able to it has to be able to withstand those rigors. The other point, though, it has to be able to withstand actually what it's like when you do get into the city, because Man, there are many times when I carried purses, and my fiance would mention to me about, well, um, you really need to carry a better purse, because in a bigger city you would be pickpocketed and robbed. So the other thing is, what type of locking mechanism? And I still think the old saddlebag mechanism of locking is still a better method, though, because that does stop pickpockets. It does stop someone from grabbing in, along with the thick strap, one that you can actually put over your side and carry that way, along with a handle, so that you can get make it easier, so you don't always have to carry it over your shoulder. In designing it, though, um, something that I've become aware of through open source fashion is what's called ethical trading. And what I like to do, though, is when I do this project is to find a way. What would be the way how to make the project ethically, so that when it does get to a point of becoming mass produced, how could it be mass produced so some of the horror stories that we hear about products being made in sweatshops or other places don't exist? What does it really take to make it so that supports um, an area and also supports the local economy? Because the inspiration I was thinking about is the person who invented my pillow. He had an idea, he tried ideas, and he eventually start on its own, and that's sort of my inspiration for this project. Some of the tools to do the projects, which I discovered has been um, open source fashion. Open source fashion is a lot like open source software, follows the same philosophy. Namely, as a way to make how do you make products and services available at almost 10% at a maximum of 10% of the cost of what it would cost to do things the other way. I've been using open source since 1996, um, and part of it started with using actually becoming one of the first users of Linux um, as a professional because when I first heard about open source in '96, I was at a dinner party. Then as associate vice president and chairperson of a conference, and one a friend of mine was telling us about, well, oh, I found this great open source operating system. It can help you get around some things you can't do in Windows, and avoid some of the issues that exist in other operating systems. Then the thing is, it also had the source code available because the source code allowed people to update it, try new ideas, think about things. The biggest objection that came was from one person, was from a few people at the tail. So, well, how can you trust software that's developed by people that can't get to work before 9 a.m. in the morning? Well, easily. There are many people who start their mornings at 2 o'clock in the morning, as I do when I work, because I worked on joint U.S. and European time. So basically, it'd be 2 a.m. in the Midwest, but when I make a business call, it'd be 9 a.m. in Europe. Then we talk a little bit. I take a little nap. Wake up like about 7 o'clock, which is about 2 p.m. there, and then so normally what would take 3 days to do as far as the transaction or deal would get done the same day, actually in a matter of hours. Because if I were to call basically at 9 o'clock, as most people try to do meetings in the Midwest or other parts of the country, it's 4 o'clock in Europe, and by that time as well, everyone is getting ready to leave. I really can't talk with everyone, so I can talk with everyone tomorrow morning. So that's 2 days, and then basically when you get back, that's 3 days. So I found a way how to speed up the process. It it is a matter just because the other part of open source fashion is also getting into the thing where people can actually take a siesta too. Um, in cultures outside the United States and outside of North America, mainly US and Canada, it is common for people to take a siesta. The part of the reason is when it becomes very hot, from 12 to 2, many people take a siesta because it's very hard to do things when it's too hot, even with air conditioning. The other thing about a siesta, though, a siesta or nap time actually does help improve productivity. Buckminster Fuller discussed this in many of his writings about productivity. And when I did work for SCS, that was one thing I was able to take a nap time because many people I worked with were from Europe and they understood the concept as well. Um, the thing is, I still put in a full day as everyone does, but basically, you actually put in a full day without being grumpy, without snapping at people, without actually making mistakes that come from fatigue from trying to do things for too long, or not even having a nutrition break. So with open source fashion, some things I'm trying to do is to try some of the tools, design, also some of the actually production tools, the 3D knitter, um, as well as the collaborative process to see, well, what actually can be done. Because many times when sometimes open source is done, it sometimes seems like an individual thing. But it'd be good to see what type of team can we develop? How can we do this? Because, like I said, the inspiration for this is the My Pillow guy, the guy who invented My Pillow. I like his philosophy. And I had friends who bought his product and they just love it. So actually, I'm going to be the next one to buy it. And Nate, the other thing is he has a good idea for a company, and you can see basically everyone who works there enjoys what they're doing. That's what people should do when they're doing a project and working. It should be fun, and that's what I want to try with this open source project. On communications and technology and theater, what I like to think about as an open source is basically the idea that USITT does, U.S. Institute of Theater and Technology. I became aware of USITT when I took the fashion course and theater course at UW Parkside, and also worked with the theater group at UW Parkside in a few plays. Um, when I look at the USITT website, it's very much similar to open source and also what SES.org does. It's a way for professionals to work together, a way to provide training, and works with different organizations as the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, which a few friends I've known have won awards for costume design. A shout out to friends at Parkside that have received it, and it's good to see that at a young age, because I know how I felt when I had my first published paper in '92 and my first award at age 18. It is a nice feeling. The thing about theater and technology though is it is a way that basically that does push society forward because in the early days of the computer revolution, people did apply theater and technology. In those days, you actually had to know more of how to program, so you actually had to have a computer science degree, and actually know how to do the hardware programming, how to do the ROM programming, um, the BIOS programming, as well as even like using Forth for some controlling some of the stage lighting and stage mechanics. Now what happens? I'm glad to see that universities like Parkside have adopted an approach where computer science is actually split into two areas. One is which is business oriented for students that wish to go strictly on a business path, but also another one that's theater oriented and creative arts oriented for people that are interested in working in theater, but also doing things creatively with computers, video game development, theater development, because um, things are moved forward by different uses, and how we try things, whether there's a new use for something, because it's not always just one use for something. There's multiple uses. Well, let me know what you think. And also, just to shout out in the future, I'm planning to do a live show with local bands and also new bands that can submit new material to WIPZ 101.5 at UW Parkside. Again, 101.5 WIPZ at UW Parkside. I just addressed the CD or contact information to Diana, or if you wish to contact me by Twitter, you can contact me on Twitter at Diana1A, or also on the program page at Ideas with Diana. Well, let me know what you think, and I'll give you an update as we move forward.